This is a mock interview conducted by ForumIAS Academy at New Delhi. The interview panel includes eminent academicians, retired bureaucrats, and other luminaries. The objective of the program is to acquaint the candidate with the format and expectations of the personality test conducted by UPSC.
May I come in, sir?
Please come in.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir.
Anuradha Mishra.
Yes, sir.
Please.
Thank you, sir.
You have appeared this time in mains interview also?
No, sir. I did not appear for a civil services examination.
Earlier.
Earlier, I was
Last
there.
year.
Yes, sir.
You appeared.
Yes, sir. I appeared.
And appeared in interview also?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What happens?
Sir, I missed by 30 marks in the final list.
Okay. 30 marks. What was the weakness?
Sir, I scored very less marks in essay.
Okay. That's. This time you are appearing in interview forests for last 2-3 years.
Sir, this is my 4th interview for Indian Forest Service.
And interview also.
Yes, sir. 4th interview for Forest Service.
4th interview. What is left behind?
Sir, in my previous 3 attempts, I was appearing for both civil services and forest service. And I was getting a very narrow window for preparation for Indian Forest Service, around 40 days only. And I had to prepare for 2 optionals, forestry and agri-engineering. So that was my weakness, I think.
Your subject is computer science and you have taken agriculture engineering.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You are from Dhanbad.
Yes, sir.
What are important places to be seen in Dhanbad? You have been there
Yes, sir.
for a quite long time.
Yes, sir. Sir, there are mines which can be visited. Usually open cast mines are there. Secondly, there are religious places also in
Mine
Dhanbad.
should be visited to see.
Sir, people go there, they visit it from a distance just to see how mining happens there.
Okay.
And sir, there are religious places and also there are heritage places like Birsa Munda Park is there in Dhanbad. And apart from that, there are dams like Maithan Dam and Panchayat Dam near to Dhanbad district.
Okay. Dhan. If we see the situation when it got extinct and today,
Yes.
even the forest area has gone under many changes.
Yes, sir.
And this is the first summer for them.
Yes, sir.
So there are difficulties, but we have to assess it after 4 to 5 years of the cycle, that how they remain, how they behave, how they breed, how they establish. So
Yes,
then
sir.
we can say that it is successful or not.
Yes,
But
sir.
today we cannot say that it is a bad idea. It's a
Yes,
good
sir.
idea. Okay. See, earlier we were thinking of bringing gir loins to some other areas of MP or some other areas.
Yes, sir.
Now we have brought cheetah directly. What do you think? Had we brought lions to some other to this area, or cheetah to we have brought this area? 2 things. How do you think that which one is better or which one is not better?
Sir, both the species, lions and cheetahs, they are the keystone species of grassland ecosystems. So either of these species would have helped in the conservation of grassland ecosystem, which is currently facing degradation. And many of the species which are facing threats of extinction like Great Indian Bustard and Floricans, they are the species of grassland ecosystem. So either of the choice would have been better. But at the same time, introducing cheetahs had also a historical and cultural angle. Cheetahs are said to be present in India since long time, and we have ancient and medieval texts also which suggest that cheetah was present in our times, in their times. So sir, definitely introducing cheetah had this historical and cultural angle, and also cheetah reintroduction program was the first of its kind in terms that it was the first intercontinental translocation of large carnivore. So that was also a success which could be attributed to India.
Yes. Secondly, if we would have brought lions to this area, because the prey run of these these lines, that is a little smaller. So we would have utilized only smaller area. Here we are now saving the larger area in case of translocation of cheetah. So that is going to affect more. That is going to give more benefit to the habitat, wildlife habitat development.
Okay, sir.
Okay, yeah. And the last, forest acts, different forest acts. What are different forest and wildlife acts? Various
Sir,
over the years.
Before independence, we had Indian Forest Act 1927, and after independence, it started with Prevention Cruelty to Animals Act 1960, then Wildlife Protection Act 1972, then Forest Conservation Act 1980, Environmental Protection Act 1986, and then finally, Sir, Biodiversity Act 2002, and then Forest Rights Act 2006.
And
Sir, I remember.
CAF Act, Compensatory Forestation Act.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When it was?
It was in 2010.
2016.
Okay, sir. Sorry.
Okay, it is NGT which was established in 2010.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, and how many policies, forest policies?
Sir, I remember 3 forest policies. Forest policy of 1894, policy of 1952, and 1988.
Okay. 1988, what is the main focus of this 1988?
Sir, it focused on joint forest management.
Yes, it is more related to people's forestry.
Yes, sir.
Okay, please, madam.
Now, can you tell me how is altitude related with forestry? As in, what role does altitude have in the forest of a region?
Ma'am, with increase in altitude, we move from tropical to temperate and finally to alpine forests because of decrease in rainfall and decrease in temperature as well.
And can you give me examples of forest if we move from the foothills of Himalayas? If we move from foothills of Himalayas to above, so can you tell me with increasing altitude?
Ma'am, tropical wet evergreen forests, tropical wet deciduous forests, dry deciduous forest, montane forest, subalpine, and then alpine forests.
Now, can you tell me what is the role of women in forest service? How many are there? What is the percentage of women in forest service?
Sorry, ma'am, I'm not aware about this data. But ma'am, women have very important role to play in forest services because if we see, women are one of the most important stakeholders with respect to nature conservation and environment. And if more women are inducted into Indian Forest Service, there will be a good interface between women officers or forest women personnel and the local tribal communities. And ma'am, I would like to quote one case study also in Maharashtra, wherein several female forest guards have been appointed, and there has been a drastic decrease in cases of poisoning of water bodies, which they usually do to keep away the carnivore animals.
Can you tell me the difference between social forestry and agroforestry?
Ma'am, agroforestry is where farmers raise perennial trees along with their annual crops in their own private lands. But in social forestry, trees are usually grown on community lands. And in agroforestry, the motive is personal gain along with protection of the local private lands. But in social forestry, the focus is on factors like generating employment and improving the microclimate and other important environmental benefits out of it.
Okay. You have appeared for both interviews for both civil services as well as forest service, and the prelims for both is together. It's conducted together.
Yes,
prelims. So should it be separate now that there is so much focus on forest and environment? Should we have a separate prelims?
Ma'am, I think the present system of conducting common prelims is a good idea because in a way students are studying more about forest and environment because of this common prelims examination. So it is an incentive to make people aware with respect to forests and environment.
Even the civil service aspirants?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And are you familiar with the Godavarman judgment?
Yes, ma'am.
How did it change the Indian scenario?
Ma'am, earlier forests were considered to be as those areas which were declared either under the national or state laws. But in Godavarman case, it enhanced the definition of forests as to any area having characteristics of forest, irrespective of any status or tag of forest, it will be considered a forest area.
Have you heard of Tree Preservation Act?
Sorry ma'am, I'm not aware.
Okay. So we know about preservation or...
Yes. Forest Act is meant for protection of forest. When the trees are outside the forest area, which act should be implemented or used? People don't grow the trees outside forest areas in their agriculture field.
Yes, sir.
Then is there any act to protect those trees?
Sir, I'm not aware.
That's the Tree Preservation Act.
Okay, ma'am.
So when we cut a tree in outside the forest area, we need to take permission, which is the Tree
Okay,
Act.
ma'am.
And that's it from my side. Thank you.
ma'am.
Okay, Anuradha, what is the percentage of plant and animal biodiversity in India?
Sir, it is 8% of the total global biodiversity.
Compared both plant as well as animal, total you are talking about?
Yes, sir, total floral and faunal diversity.
Okay. Okay, Anuradha, suppose you are appointed as a DFO,
Yes,
and
sir.
in your region there is a wildlife-human conflict is there.
Yes, sir.
So what are the necessary steps that you are going to take? Try to arrange it priority-wise.
Yes, sir. Sir, I would like to bifurcate into short-term and long-term measures. With respect to short-term measures, we can go for fencing so that the animals do not venture out into human habitations. Sir, secondly, we can put in place an alert system. Sir, I would like to share a case study in Hassan district, wherein there were a lot of human deaths because of man and elephant conflict. And they put in place an SMS alert system that whenever elephant was seen in and around the village area, villagers were alerted to stay inside their homes and remain safe. And within a year, the number of deaths were reduced to 0 because of this. So alert system can be one of the options. And sir, third thing can be to make people aware, because it has been seen that whenever any wild animal approaches human area, they start pelting stones on them, or they gather in form of crowds. So that pesters the animal and it becomes more violent. So there should be a do's and don'ts kind of thing for awareness to them. And secondly, for long-term measures, we should focus on the fact that animals are venturing out into human areas because of lack of prey or lack of water resources and even habitat fragmentation. So that can be dealt by improving the quality of forests as well as creating more and more wildlife corridors.
So you worked in Samsung,
Yes,
right?
sir.
Certain word is being used for them, like chabols are often used.
Chabols, yes,
yeah.
sir.
So what are the other companies for which this term is used?
Sir, I'm not aware about
And why
other
is
companies.
chabols, this word is used for the Samsung?
Sir, it refers to a large industrial conglomerate run by a single family.
Okay. So you are in app development.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with respect to TV, the television side or the phone side?
Sir, my team was the building energy management system. Sir, it was a separate application to manage the energy needs of large and complex buildings.
Okay. We often talk about bringing renewable energy, moving towards non-fossil fuels. So townships like Dhanbad, are they not going to suffer because of these steps when we move from fossil fuel towards non-fossil fuels? So the main source there is the mining. So the economy of that region is going to suffer a lot. So are there any steps being taken by the government, or there should be certain steps that should be taken?
Sir, in the short term, we need mining because we have our own developmental aspirations. So we cannot stop it right now. But in the long term, yes, we should transition to renewable energy. But at the same time, it should also be understood that we can use mining, we can use coal, but at the same time, we should be offsetting equal amount of carbon through plantation works or creating carbon sinks.
You played Kho-Kho, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you explain me the origin of Kho-Kho?
Sir, the game of Kho-Kho is believed to have originated in ancient times, 2000 years ago in the state of Maharashtra. But it was in the present form, it was revived recently in the 20th century in 1914 by the Deccan Gymkhana Club.
Okay. Has it been included in Olympics?
No, sir, it is not included in Olympics.
In the Asian Games?
Sir, it is in South Asian Games, but not yet in the Asian Games.
Has the recognition been given to this
Yes, sir,
game?
recognition is given to it.
Okay, thank you, sir. It was overall very good interview, अनुराधा. धनबाद के बारे में थोड़ा और प्रिपेयर करना पड़ेगा, ठीक है? Geographical एंड कुछ भी अगर इकोनॉमी वाइज स्वॉट एनालिसिस एक बार कर लीजिएगा, तो इकोनॉमी और कौन सी अच्छी इकोनॉमी वहाँ पे ग्रो कर सकती है अगर मूव करते हैं टुवर्ड्स, अभी नहीं लेकिन विद लॉन्ग टर्म हमारे पास एक प्लान होना चाहिए, तो आपको पता रहे.
ओके सर.
ठीक है ना? बाकी न्यूज़पेपर तो पढ़ते रहिए. थैंक यू.